I think I'm entitled to.
You want answers!
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth! Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. You weep for Santiago and you curse the Marines. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of not knowing what I know, that Santiago's death, while tragic, probably saved lives, and my existence, while grotesque and incomprehensible to you, saves lives. You don't want the truth because deep down in places you don't talk about at parties, you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. We use words like honor, code, loyalty. We use these words as the backbone of a life spent defending something. You use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain myself to a man who rises and sleeps under the blanket of the very freedom that I provide, and then questions the manner in which I provide it. I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, I suggest you pick up a weapon and stand a post. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
For an update, and they wouldn't give her an update on her father, who's dead in the other room from the coronavirus. He came home yesterday with a temperature. Doctor said don't go to the hospital. I just left here at 7 p.m. and he was fine. This call came over as a shooting. No, my daughter called and said my dad's dead. But now that they're all leaving, we know that he's dead. And now they're saying they may not even take him out. His body may have to lay in there for 4 or 5 days until the morgue comes and gets him. How dare you make us have to deal with that? After living there with the body for days. I say shame on you, Mayor de Blasio. I have served you. I am the owner of Autumn Seafood Soul. How dare you, Mayor de Blasio? You can't blame that shit on Trump. You can't blame that shit on Cuomo. This is our city, and we're being treated like shit.
The clip you just heard, or just saw, was a wife basically crying out in agony because her husband was just died of COVID-19. And the paramedics, as you can see in the clip, were leaving because there was nothing that they could do. The man had already expired. And they're saying because of the amount of bodies piling up that in New York City from people dying inside their homes, that the morgue cannot come get them, which is something I've been saying. I've been saying that the amount of deaths in New York City are undercounted because when the CDC shows them, there's a discrepancy of 3, 4, maybe 5,000 people, and this is on a daily basis, where the morgue literally cannot test all these bodies, all these people that are dying. And it reminded me of something I had mentioned like almost a month ago that I read, and I think it was the New York Post. I'll put the link in the description. I can't remember exactly what paper this is from. I think this is from City Lab or something like that. But the title is "After Deaths at Home Spike in NYC, Officials Plan to Count as Many as COVID-19 Deaths." Now, you know, yesterday I actually showed the discrepancy between the COVID-19 count, the bodies that were actually designated as COVID-19 versus the number of people that actually died. And it was about 4,000 to 5,000 people that hadn't been tested, that were recorded as deaths and may never be tested, that the CDC does not recognize. So I'm gonna read this clip, read this article. New York City officials will begin to count suspected COVID-19 deaths in addition to cases confirmed by a laboratory following a WNYC Gothamist report revealing a staggering increase in the number of people dying at home, but not included in the official tally because they hadn't been tested for the novel coronavirus. In a statement, Stephanie Bewley, a spokeswoman for the New York City's health department, confirmed the change in protocol. And this is from April 8th. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner and the NYC Health Department are working together to include into their reports deaths that may be linked to COVID but not lab confirmed that occur at home, she said. She didn't say when the city would begin reporting suspected deaths along with the overall count. The announcement comes as New York City, which has been hardest hit by the virus, saw its largest single-day toll so far from the COVID-19 pandemic, with 727 dying in a 24-hour period. And that's in one day. This is people that are at home. However, even those numbers fail to include many instances when first responders encountered someone that had already died at home or in other non-hospital settings. That happened 280 times on Monday, according to data from the city's fire department. While not all of these deaths are necessarily caused by COVID-19, it's a sharp increase over the average 25 home deaths per day the city was experiencing before the pandemic swept the 5 boroughs. It goes from 25 home deaths per day to 280. And y'all don't believe this shit is real. Come on, y'all. Over the last 2 weeks, the city's fire officials said more than 2,192 New York City residents died in their homes compared to 453 the same period last year. As of Tuesday afternoon, a total of 3,555 people were confirmed to have died from the virus in the 5 boroughs. Mayor Bill de Blasio acknowledged on Tuesday that the vast majority of deaths taking place at home were likely also due to COVID-19. The disease caused by the virus, meaning the death toll could be as much as 70% higher than currently reported figures. We do want to know the truth behind every death at home, but it's safe to assume that the vast majority are coronavirus related, he said. That makes it even more sober. The sense of how many people we are actually losing. And that is from April 8th, 2020. Like I said, a lot of people aren't going to believe this is real until the bodies start dropping the floor. It doesn't matter how many people you see that are actually living through this, how many people come on say that they have it or recover it, or how many people come on say that they've lost somebody with this. Now, people ask me, why do I keep hammering this? How come I keep talking about this? In other words, you just want it to go away. That's really all it is. I don't believe it. I just wanted to go away. And you putting your fingers in your ear going la 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 la. And you don't want to believe that this shit is real, or it's not as bad as people make it out to be, or it's not that big a deal. Tell that to this woman who lost her husband that died in her apartment. And like she said, they sent him home. He sought medical help. They sent him back without testing him. And the next day he's dead. And now she's got to live 4 or 5 days with a corpse in her apartment with her dead husband in her place. And now you can't blame the officers and the firemen. That's like a lot of firemen have taken their lives. A lot of paramedics, there's about 3 or 4 paramedics that have actually committed suicide because they're just worn out. They're getting tired of the emotional stress of people whose loved ones have died in their sleep in their house, right? And this is happening time after time. They're getting hundreds of calls a day with this people wanting to come there and check out their loved one. And the person's dying or dead or dying in their sleep, and there's nothing they can do about it. Some people are dead sitting up in a chair because that's the only way they can breathe. They can't breathe lying down. If this particular video of this lady doesn't convince you that this shit is real, then you know what? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Because you guys want to believe that the white man is the big boogeyman. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not saying that the white folks as a whole have an evil heart. I'm not saying that they don't. That's what you want to believe. But this shit is real. And it's not striking just us, it's striking everybody. Everybody's got to face this. And just because it's New York today doesn't mean it won't be LA tomorrow, or Chicago, or St. Louis, or Miami, or Washington, D.C., or Baltimore. And it's new. It doesn't mean that the virus is going to go away tomorrow, or next month, or next year. Viruses like this that rise up, sometimes it takes hundreds of years for you to actually figure it out and actually put a stop to it. Once they're released, once they start replicating, they never go away. People have been dying of measles for hundreds of years, thousands of years. You can push against it, you can bring the deaths down, but eventually that disease can mutate and come right back. And once you will let things like this out into the world, out into the population, you can't control it anymore. And so you're going to see scene after scene after scene of what you just saw with this black lady, what her and her daughter had to go through. And the paramedics walking away with their oxygen tanks and their backpacks, with their head down and with their mask on. That's not a damn thing they can do about it. It's not their fault. What are they going to tell them? They're not built to handle this, where they have to tell loved one after loved one that their father, their mother, their grandfather is dead. There are hospitals or healing places. They're not MASH units where they have wounded coming in and they're losing half the patients. People come back from wars all fucked up because they've been in battle. What do you think a paramedic's gonna do that has to look at this day after day and watch people die? And we're not even talking about the damage for the people that survive, because you're gonna have organ damage. Kidneys, heart, liver, lungs. And guess what? When they send your ass back to work, just like the people at those meatpacking plants that he's forcing to go back to work, forcing them to actually risk their lives and their health because the economy needs to get going. That's what the fuck I was talking about. They're gonna send you back into those salt mines, and if the bodies drop, the bodies drop. One day y'all gonna take this seriously. I hope that it's sooner rather than later. I hope you take it seriously before your loved one drops, or before you have to watch your loved one on a fucking dialysis machine because his liver and his kidneys are gone. Or not have your 20-year-old kid or your 30-year-old wife walk around with a fucking oxygen tank because their lungs are damaged. When I first saw this, guess what? I saw this shit and I shed a tear when I first saw it, because that's so heart-wrenching to hear a woman crying out because her husband of 30 years has just bit the bullet over this bullshit. He was just fine the day before. The hospitals are turning people away. That's how come black people are dying. GJ Jazzy Jeff said the exact same thing. He went to the hospital with the same thing and they sent him home. They're gonna start sending people home to die just so that you won't be counted, because they need you. They need you on that wall. They want you on that wall. And you want the truth? You want the truth. And I've been giving you the truth, and guess what? You can't handle the goddamn truth, just like Jack Nicholson said. But just like the truth, it doesn't matter whether you can handle it or not. The truth is the truth, and it's going to show up on your doorstep sooner rather than later. But I'm not going to turn this into a rant today. I got a rant coming for tomorrow. And I'm going to give you the ugly truth that you do not want to fucking hear. But for today, that's all I got. This is BGS out, and I will see you guys on the next one.